Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Black Butler, chapter 191. When we last left our heroes, everything wrapped up just a little bit too smoothly, and I know that's rich coming from someone who's been complaining about this, like, slow as hell pacing for years now, but all of a sudden there was no conflict around Baldroy's survival. He just was fine, they went through the blood transfusion, he's good. Which, you know, I wish there was some drama either, like, emotionally inside Baldroy's mind, or physically with Lau wanting to chase after Layla and not give up the blood, but whatever. So yeah, with that, things start to wrap up at Athena. Ada worries about having to close the sanatorium, but Lau offers her and all of the patients a place in China where they will not be hunted by the Undertaker, and where he will get some credit with the Qing Bang for bringing this sort of, you know, blood transfusion technology to the east. Meanwhile, Layla continues her attempted escape, but is caught by one Ronald Knox. So let's dive right on in chapter 191, the Butler slacking off, and hopefully find out what Knox has been doing here all this time. Our picture here is Knox and a couple other Reapers behind him. They're all standing stock still, and Knox is like leaning on his lawnmower. Accurate investigations, strict judgments. And we pick up right where we left off with Knox having caught Layla as she's like bloodied up from her fight with Baldroy, teasing, "Found you. I'm paying attention, because the number of souls was out of balance. And sure enough, the reanimated corpses were involved. You finally gave yourself away." And she, as he opens his eyes, she reacts, "You have chartreuse eyes. No, are you what Mr. Undertaker referred to as the Grim Reaper?" And we see a bunch of the series Reapers, the German guys, Grell's partner, whose name, William, I think is the name, I'm blanking on, I think, Othello. Though I had forgotten that eye color was a big part of Grim Reaper biology. I thought it was like the glasses that was the sign of the Reaper, but not the eye color. I don't remember that part, but maybe I'm just forgetting that. It's been a long time since we've dealt with Reapers. Knox just tells her, "You're a nuisance. I cannot have you upset our schedules. I'd assumed Ada was the one, but it was you, Layla. I must thank that chef." We see that Knox was watching Baldroy's encounter with the Aurora Society guys. You know, working on the soul retrieval, yeah. And then he looks over and finds Baldroy's shot with Layla above him. "He allowed me to find a bizarre doll." So yeah. So, you know, it's been a bit of a question for a while now. What is Knox doing here? Because we knew this place was tied to the Undertaker, there was always the question of, is Knox joining up with the Undertaker? And this scene pretty definitively says no, he was tracking the Bizarre Dolls, much like the CL gang were tracking down the Blood. And they just sort of happen to run into each other at the same time, and because Baldroy I don't think really knows about Reapers, they never really had any genuine interaction. But anyway, he gets to, like, monologuing. "Do humans have souls? We Grim Reapers have no way of knowing, as we cannot see them with our eyes. Ever since the brass began observing this world, every living being has had souls without exception. That was absolute. Until you appeared." Okay, so that's a weird thing, because I thought that, like, the film reels they grabbed were just souls. Like, I thought those were just souls personified, or souls, like, you know, made physical. But, like, it's, like, and there's this weird, like, do humans have souls? We Reapers can't know, but also every living being has had souls without exception before the Bizarre Dolls. Like, it's a weird little line, especially because Grim Reapers are the ones who do see them with their eyes. They take them out, and you can look at them. Like, that first part is a really weird line. Especially because it's so, like, unimportant. Like, the important thing is every being has had souls without exception, and that was absolute until the Bizarre Dolls appeared. That's the point. But there's just the weird first line that is not really based in anything. Like, it's counter to the lore directly. It's a weird bit. And then he comments to Layla, "And what's this? You're completely different from the ones I saw in the Campagna. You've been improved too much too fast. Because, yeah, I guess Knox hasn't really been here since the Campagna incident. I guess he doesn't even know about Real CL being a bizarre doll. Right? Real CL was like an early bizarre doll. Because like we've seen some of that progression, what with the teacher in the public school arc. I'm trying to remember when exactly Real CL came back. Because if he's an improved bizarre doll, I'm not sure it makes sense if he was back during the Campagna. But I have a vague recollection at the end of that flashback when we got snippets of Real CL's story, seeing him like hiding on the ship or something with Undertaker. I don't remember the exact details. Maybe someone can remind me in the comments. But anyway, we're not obligated to retrieve you. But the brass cannot leave this matter as is. Which is another weird line, because... like, I'm curious, I don't think we know much information about the brass. Like, the little bit of flashbacks in that earlier panel mentioned the brass in the past, like, in previous encounters with Knox. But, like, there's this weird split that Knox is doing. We're not obligated to retrieve you, but the brass is, like... I figure that the Grim Reapers were just sort of beholden to whoever is in charge of running the Grim Reapers. But that line implies that, like, there's some difference? I don't know. It's a weird... there's lots of weird things on this page. But Knox goes on, we get stuck with overtime, thanks to irregular types like you. And so, I'll have you come to our organization's headquarters. That's the first... has there ever been a sign that they have a headquarters before? Like, I assume there would be, but I figured it would be, like, in some sort of, like... different plane where death happens. I don't know. Like some sort of heaven or hell or purgatory. But Layla pauses for a minute and then slams her head back into Knox. And Knox is just sort of stunned at the sudden resistance. And she then says, I slept well. And she looks down at her bloodied apron like she's confused. Oh? You kept calling me, saying, Al, Al, so many times. Oh, Al isn't another person, it's another personality. I'd ignored you, as I'd assumed you were calling me for something stupid. Like I cannot decide the color of my ribbon. But it turns out to be quite amusing. Hey. And she's just like wipes like the saliva off her chin, like she's raring to go for another fight with Knox. And Knox just thinks, what's going on? She suddenly looks different. And she like lifts up her skirt. All right. And Knox is just confused. Eh? And she pulls out these big old scissors. Stop whimpering, Layla. I'll take over. All the pain we'd experienced from now on. And she's now like dual-wielding knives. I'll do to him what I did to that old woman. Okay, that's the thing we don't know about, right? Because I don't think there's an old woman that Layla/Al would have killed. And Knox is just frustrated. Not really taking her as a threat, more just like from a careerist standpoint. This has become a complicated case in many ways. I'm so unlucky. I have a group date with the planning section after work tonight. Then, and he just snaps his fingers, bringing his lawnmower down for the battle. I'll finish this quick, as I'm against overtime as a rule. And Al just lunges at Knox. I haven't been outside for a while, so let me have my fun, hey? And Knox just has no interest in this fight at all, like dead-eyed there. How could you act so superior with your blades? I'm a Grim Reaper, and he rears up the lawnmower. I can pulverize you in a flash. But Layla grins, like she's ready for him. And the two blade, like the scissor blade and the lawnmower clash. And it seemed like kind of a draw. Shocking Knox. He was expecting an easy win there, as Al laughs. Gah! One more time! And she stabs into the lawnmower. Knox throws her away. Damn! This sucks. I just had this fixed. You see the lawnmower's a little beat up. And then he looks over at Al's weapon. I couldn't cut through it with a Death Scythe. Such things cannot exist. Oops. And he realizes his mistake as he flashes back to Undertaker. There is one thing, isn't there? One thing that can't cut through. Which I guess is referring to another Death Scythe. Only Grim Reapers can carry a Death Scythe. Then what is this? Right, because she's not a Death Scythe, she's a Bizarre Doll. Or she's not a Grim Reaper, she's a Bizarre Doll. Maybe it's... What was Undertaker's original scythe? I feel like we should know, but I just can't remember. But as he's thinking, he notices Alice has appeared. Damn! And Alice ready, about to stab the other blade into him. What will you do at this juncture? Okay, so because Imgur does not really do two-page spreads well, I'm trying to tell what's going on here. It looks like someone throws another weapon at Layla that looks like a pair of giant, garden shears. And yeah, it is. I do believe this is William T. Spears, right? It's been a long time since you really dealt with them. We've dealt with most of the Reapers beyond Mr. Knox. But yes, I would be correct as to this being William Spears, who I thought was Grell's partner, right? I think so. So not quite sure what he's doing here, but whatever, he's here now. You blundered because you treated your daily routine like a side job and was negligent. Good grief. And now I shan't be able to clock out on time yet again, thanks to you. To be continued. Okay. So it's nice to, check back in with the Reapers. That's my first thought with the chapter. Because, even when Knox was back, he was so, caught up in the disguise that we didn't really get to, deal with the more, Reaper stuff in this franchise. So, it's nice to sort of... And, even the Grell and Othello stuff, I don't recall being... the little bits we got of them in the aftermath of the fight at the Manor, I don't recall being, super... No, there was a little bit that was caught up in sort of the mythology here. I have vague memories of Othello going on about that at one point, though I couldn't quite tell you the exact details there. But, it's just, not... It's a side of the series I think is very popular and also just doesn't come up very much. So it's nice to sort of get that sort of thought back. I'm going to drop a Layla theory that part of her deal, and maybe it's why Knox admits she's advanced too much too fast, right? Is that she has two fake souls or whatever the exact thing that Undertaker does. I know it's been explained, but I can't remember. Something about restoring the cinematic record. But she has two of those in her. And so she has the Layla and the Al personality coming out at different times because they're the two different souls in her. That's my random theory on that I just saw. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like more than... Maybe it's been too long that I've forgotten, but this chapter in particular seems more than normal interested in, the Reapers as an organization. We get mentions of, it's there's some things the casual mention Knox has about the group date with the planning section after work tonight. Taking her back to headquarters, big mentions of the brass. There's a lot of the sense of the Reapers as bureaucracy. It reminds me kind of Kyokai no Rene. How that literally had hell be, a government bureaucracy. And maybe I'm just forgetful, because, again, this series goes on such long and slow tangents that it's easy to forget central elements of its lore. But, I don't know, it feels like maybe we are building towards something with the Reapers. The Reapers have largely been, hanging around in the sidelines for, eons. The show's entire... they're not always in the background, but, they never really... You hear about there are Grim Reapers in this world, and they are recurring characters, and you'd think they'd be, a primary force in the show, and they largely aren't, I think. They show up from time to time, the Undertaker is Undertaker is one and all that, but, by and large, the Reapers as an organization aren't around very much. And that's always kind of surprised me with this series. So maybe we are slowly, in Black Butler's very, very, very slow way, building towards something about Reapers in general. I don't know. But then this chapter brings up even more mysteries with Layla, right when we thought this would be a quick little deal with Layla before we move to the next years-long subplot. we find out she's got a lot more kick to her than we thought with this double personality thing, and also this weapon that can break a Death Scythe, which, I don't know, we don't quite know what's going on with that, because she's not a Reaper, so that shouldn't be a Death Scythe, but I don't know. And before we can really get further on that, William arrives, and he's here to, like, whoop her, or have, you know, now that she knows he's here, maybe it won't be as easy a fight as it was as that first hit was. I don't know. We'll see what comes from that next time. But all in all, while this is still a short chapter, it's Black Butler, nothing moves fast here, it's really good. There's a lot of, like, you know, it's one of those Butler chapters where, like, there's plenty of, like, little information to, like, sink your teeth into, to see how it all plays out in the future. And I am excited to see what all comes of that, and how this fight goes now that there are 2 Reapers here to fight Layla, and what that might reveal about Layla and the Undertaker's planning and everything sort of brewing in this storyline. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes it happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!